What would you do if your loudest demand revealed your deepest flaw? In the dusty, sun-scorched town of Redstone, Montana, where the horizon stretches endlessly and the nearest neighbor is a mile away, Karen Whitmore's voice carried like a storm. Her demands were legendary, her complaints a daily ritual. But this time, her crusade for a mail service to her sprawling ranch would unravel a truth so raw, so humbling, that it would leave the entire town reeling and Karen herself staring into the abyss of her own making. Karen Whitmore was a woman of sharp edges and sharper words. At 42, she'd built a reputation in Redstone as the ranch owner who could make a grown man flinch with a single glare. Her sprawling property, Whitmore Acres, was a patchwork of ambition acres of cattle grazing land, a half-finished barn, and a mansion that gleamed like a mirage against the rugged landscape. She'd moved to Redstone 5 years ago, fleeing a city life she never spoke of, and brought with her a conviction that the world owed her convenience. Her latest obsession? The lack of a dedicated mail service to her ranch. The nearest post office was in town, a 30-minute drive, and Karen wasn't having it. Unacceptable! She'd bellowed at the town hall meeting, her voice slicing through the murmurs of farmers and shopkeepers. I pay taxes. I deserve mail delivered to my door. Like any civilized person, the townsfolk exchanged weary glances. Redstone's post office was a one-room operation run by Clara Hensley, a soft-spoken widow who'd been delivering mail on foot and by truck for decades. The idea of extending service to every remote ranch was absurd. But Karen didn't care. She wanted her packages, her designer boots, her imported skincare, her artisanal coffee brought to her doorstep. Clara, ever patient, tried to explain. Ms. Whitmore, we'd need infrastructure. Mailboxes, for one. Most ranches have them by the road. Karen's face reddened. Don't lecture me on logistics. Just do your job. The room fell silent. Clara, unfazed, adjusted her glasses and said, I'll look into it. But Karen wasn't done. She launched a petition, rallied her few allies, and even called the regional postal service, demanding action. Her campaign became the talk of Redstone, a mix of amusement and exasperation. Enter Javier Morales, a quiet newcomer to town. A former journalist from Albuquerque, Javier had moved to Redstone to escape his own ghosts, a career derailed by a scandal he never fully explained. He worked odd jobs, kept to himself, and had a knack for noticing what others missed. Javier was at the town hall that night, watching Karen's tirade with a curious glint in his eye. He didn't speak up, but he listened, and he started asking questions. Why doesn't she just install a mailbox? He asked Clara over coffee at the diner. Clara sighed, stirring her tea. She says it's beneath her. Says the postal service should figure it out. Javier's brow furrowed. No mailbox at all? Not even a temporary one? Clara shook her head. Nope, just demands. Javier's curiosity deepened. There was a story here, and he couldn't resist digging. Weeks passed, and Karen's campaign grew louder. She posted rants on the town's online forum, called the Mayor Daily, and even hired a lawyer to threaten legal action. The townsfolk, tired of her noise, began to push back. If she wants mail, she can drive to town like the rest of us, grumbled Tom Baxter, a cattle farmer. But Karen was relentless. She organized a protest outside the post office, holding a sign that read, Ranch rights equals mail rights. The absurdity of it all was almost comical until Javier uncovered something that changed everything. One evening, while helping Clara sort mail, Javier noticed a stack of undelivered packages addressed to Karen. They'd been piling up for months, marked return to sender. No receptacle. He paused, puzzled. Clara, has anyone checked her property? Like, actually gone out there? Clara frowned. She doesn't let anyone near. Says it's private land. Javier's instincts kicked in. He borrowed Clara's truck and drove to Whitmore Acres under the guise of delivering a package. The ranch was a paradox, pristine yet neglected. The mansion gleamed, but the fences sagged, and the road to the house was a rutted mess. Javier parked at the gate and walked the long drive, package in hand. No mailbox, no sign of one ever having been installed. But as he approached the house, he saw something odd. A pile of unopened mail, weathered and faded, stuffed into a rusted bucket by the porch. Letters, bills, catalogs, some dated back years. His stomach churned. Karen wasn't just demanding a service she didn't need. She was hiding something. Javier knocked, and Karen answered, her face a mask of suspicion. "What do you want?" she snapped. He held up the package. "Delivery. Thought I'd try." Her eyes narrowed, but she took it, tossing it onto the porch without a glance. "Tell Clara to get her act together," she said, slamming the door. Javier didn't leave. He lingered, peering at the bucket. Among the letters was a name he didn't expect. Emily Whitmore. Not Karen. Emily. Back in town, Javier dug deeper. Public records showed no Karen Whitmore owning the ranch. It was registered to Emily Whitmore, a woman who'd vanished from public view years ago. Whispers from old-timers painted a picture. Emily, a recluse, had lived on the ranch until a mysterious fire destroyed part of the property. She'd disappeared, and Karen had appeared shortly after, claiming ownership. Javier's journalist instinct screamed. Was Emily still out there? Was Karen even who she said she was? The twist came when Javier tracked down Emily's sister, Lila, in a neighboring town. Lila, a soft-spoken artist, hadn't seen Emily in years, but confirmed the ranch was hers. "Emily was broken," Lila said, tears in her eyes. "After the fire, she lost everything, her savings, her confidence. She stopped leaving the house. Then this Karen showed up, saying she'd handle things." Lila's voice cracked. "I think she's Emily, hiding from herself." Javier returned to Redstone, his mind racing. Karen or Emily had built a persona to escape her pain, but her demands for mail service were a cry for connection she couldn't admit. The undelivered letters, the lack of a mailbox, it wasn't negligence. It was fear. Fear of facing the world, of confronting the past. Javier confronted Karen at the next town meeting, holding up a faded letter addressed to Emily. "This is you, isn't it?" he asked softly. The room froze. Karen's face crumpled. For the first time, her bravado shattered. "You don't understand," she whispered. "I had to be someone else." Emily was weak. She failed. The townsfolk watched, stunned, as she confessed. The fire had been an accident, but it had destroyed her spirit. She'd reinvented herself as Karen, a woman who demanded control because Emily had none. The mail service fight wasn't about convenience, it was about proving she still mattered. Clara, ever kind, approached her. "Emily, you don't need to fight for us to see you." But Emily shook her head, tears streaming. "I can't go back. I can't be her." She left the meeting, and the next day Whitmore Acres was quiet. Too quiet. Javier drove out, fearing the worst. The mansion was empty, the bucket of mail gone. Emily or Karen had vanished, leaving only a note. "I'm sorry. I couldn't face it." Redstone mourned in its own way. Clara kept Emily's packages, hoping she'd return. Javier wrote an article, not for publication but for himself, to make sense of the woman who demanded so much yet had so little. The town moved on, but the ranch stood as a ghost, a reminder of a woman who'd fought to be seen and lost herself instead. The bitter truth lingered. Sometimes, the loudest demands hide the deepest wounds, and no amount of shouting can heal them. ND